If the US enters a global war, the little things you do every day will stop being conveniences and start being killers. Your smartphone pinging a location, the porch light glowing like a beacon, the same grocery run every Tuesday. Each one is a signal. In a fractured, resource-scarce environment filled with desperate people and organized threats, those signals make you visible, predictable, and vulnerable. Assume supply chains will be stressed, communications noisy or monitored, movement restricted at times, and opportunists or organized groups watching for easier targets. This isn't meant to scare you into paralysis. It's meant to change habits before they become fatal patterns. Here are the everyday habits that will get you killed, and exactly what to change now. If this is speaking to you, subscribe and join our community for deeper checklists and weekly OPSEC drills. Posting your location and oversharing on social media will get you targeted. What is a harmless update in peacetime becomes a map in wartime, a check-in at a pharmacy, a photo with a clear street sign, a live story from inside your home. All of it can be saved, aggregated, and used by someone planning a raid or by people watching for looters. I've seen groups scrape social feeds to find empty houses and supply routes. They don't need to break into a place when someone hands them the directions. The immediate alternative is to go offline for non-essential accounts, delay or gate posts, and strip identifying metadata from images. Treat your social media like a public megaphone you can't silence later. Tell only a tight, trusted circle about movements and resources. If you must communicate status, use code phrases agreed upon in advance with your group, and rely on channels designed for privacy rather than public platforms. Leaving lights, generators, or campfires on at night turns your home into a beacon. In wartime, night becomes cover for everyone who wants it, friendly or not. A house with windows lit up, a generator noise humming, or a well-lit driveway tells a passerby three things. People are home, power is available, and goods might be nearby. One family I worked with had a backyard generator running to charge batteries. A neighbor watching from the road could see the glow and hear the hum. That glow drew a late-night approach that could have turned ugly. The safer habit is practicing light discipline. Use interior curtains, shielded task lighting, and low-watt, warm bulbs that don't stand out. Run generators only when essential and during unpredictable intervals, and consider sound mitigation and placement that reduces long-distance noise. Use timers or rituals that randomize when you light up, so your property doesn't broadcast a schedule. Maintaining predictable routines. Same store, same time, same route. Makes you trackable. In normal life, schedules are efficient. In wartime, predictability is a liability. If you always leave at 7 a.m. for work, the pattern forms in minutes. Recruiters for criminal activity and reconnaissance will notice. Even the sequence in which you bring in mail, move trash, or take kids to school paints a pattern. The fix is deliberate unpredictability. Vary departure times, rotate routes, and stagger errands. When you can't avoid routine, work shifts, kids' school, build redundant plans. A vetted neighbor who can alternate pickups, staggered household chores, and decoy times when someone is visibly active at the property, while the main mover slips out quietly. Teach everyone in the household to avoid posting or signaling routines, and to understand that deviation for security is normal. Driving with visible valuables or using obvious supply points advertises your haul. A vehicle full of grocery bags, new boxes, or lights that reveal cargo is a walking billboard. High-value purchases and trips to well-known supply points, big box stores, distribution centers, create queues where armed opportunists can wait. I've watched otherwise cautious people load easily visible generators or pallets in the back of a truck and drive predictable routes, believing their vehicle was their shield. It isn't. The safer route is concealment and segmentation. Carry smaller loads, stagger supply runs, and mix routine errands with other tasks. If you must transport larger items, make arrangements for discreet pickup, use covered storage, or enlist trusted community partners. Avoid parking in the same exposed spot. Rotate where you unload and who you bring with you. Relying solely on smartphones, GPS, and bank apps will strand you or betray you. Modern systems are powerful but fragile. Networks can be overloaded, compromised, or selectively shut down. Devices can be traced. Accounts can be frozen or monitored. Imagine losing navigation and bank access on a road with checkpoints and limited cache access. You're suddenly cut off and exposed. Start by building redundancy. Carry paper maps and memorize basic routes. Keep a small amount of cash and barterable items, and separate financial access where possible. Learn simple offline navigation principles and practice them. Turn off unnecessary services on devices, use privacy settings, and consider a cold storage phone or burner for critical comms that you power up only when needed. The goal is not to abandon modern tools, but to avoid dependence on one point of failure. Keeping all your supplies in one obvious place makes you a single profitable target. A basement stacked with canned goods and a garage full of water barrels are tempting to someone who would rather take than negotiate. When everything is visible or concentrated, it simplifies someone else's decision to take it. The practical alternative is dispersal and low-profile storage. Split supplies into multiple caches, some at home, some with trusted neighbors, some off-site if possible. Camouflage storage as ordinary household items and rotate locations over time. Keep only immediate use supplies in obvious places. Long-term stores should be discreet and known only to a few vetted people. Inventory quietly and track expiration dates. Dispersal reduces the yield per target and lowers the incentive for a single raid. Ignoring electronic signatures and unshielded devices will make you audible and visible to someone with basic monitoring tools. Radios, active Wi-Fi, Bluetooth beacons, and always-on trackers create distinct signatures. In a high-surveillance environment, whether state actors scanning for transmissions or groups listening for electronic chatter, those signatures tell a story about your presence and pattern. That doesn't mean you can or should disable all electronics. It means you must manage them. Use airplane mode and power down devices when not in use. Disable automatic connections. Keep Bluetooth and Wi-Fi off by default. When you need a transmission, limit it to short, necessary bursts, and use established privacy-forward tools. If you operate radios, learn legal band use and signal discipline. Speak as briefly as safely possible, and use pre-arranged brevity codes agreed within your group. Failing to set up backup communications and meeting points isolates you when things go wrong. When infrastructure falters, the most dangerous state is being cut off and divided from your people. One household I know assumed family members would simply text if separated. When cell service dropped, they had no plan and ended up wandering neighborhoods looking for each other at night. Establish at least 2 communication layers. A short-range backup, like a VHF/UHF radio operated legally, and physical contingency plans, primary and secondary rendezvous points with pre-agreed windows. Teach everyone how to reach these places and what signals indicate safety or distress. Keep written copies of plans in waterproof containers. Practice reaching the rendezvous points under different scenarios, so the plan becomes muscle memory rather than theory. Wearing new, high-status clothing or showing other obvious signs of resource access will mark you. Clean, brand-new clothes, pristine gear, or flashy watches in a time of scarcity are more than vanity. They're a flag. In a collapsing economy, visible markers of means can provoke theft, coercion, or worse. Blend. Adopt a low-profile wardrobe that matches your local area. When you acquire supplies, distribute or camouflage them so they don't advertise value. Teach children and family members why modesty is now a protective habit. Psychological adjustments like these reduce attention and lower the chance of being singled out. Not vetting neighbors or failing to build a trusted community will leave you exposed. The myth of the lone survivalist is dangerous. Community, when constructed carefully, is the most effective force multiplier you can get. But trust must be earned and verified. I've seen community watches turn chaotic because membership was open and unchecked. I've also seen small, vetted networks stop threats before they escalated. Start by building a small, cross-functional trusted network of people you know over time. Neighbors, co-workers, and others who've demonstrated reliability. Share specific roles and plans in private. Who watches, who handles medcare, who's responsible for communications. Conduct simple vetting through references and community reputation, and rotate responsibilities so burnout doesn't create gaps. Keep a compact roster with contact hierarchies and redundancy. Remember, community defense is mutual aid and legal self-protection, not vigilantism. Neglecting weapon training and maintenance if you choose to own arms is a quick path to danger. Owning a legal firearm, or other defensive tools, without proper training and upkeep increases risk, not safety. Weapons unfamiliar to you can malfunction, be misused, or escalate encounters you might otherwise avoid. The responsible path is formal training with certified instructors, regular practice sessions, and disciplined maintenance schedules. Secure storage is non-negotiable. Locked safes, trigger locks, and clear access protocols ensure children and unauthorized people don't gain access. Know the laws in your jurisdiction and follow them. Emphasize de-escalation skills, conflict avoidance, and escape plans as the primary defensive posture, because lethal force is always a last resort. Failing to rotate caches, test gear, and run drills breeds complacency that becomes deadly. Supplies spoil, batteries drain, and plans that aren't tested are useless in a crisis. I've audited caches that were irrelevant because food expired, and radios had dead batteries. Make a habit of scheduled maintenance. Rotate food stocks based on dates, test batteries monthly, and run at least quarterly drills that simulate realistic scenarios. Communications blackout, short notice evacuation, or medical emergency. Involve your community network in joint drills, so everyone knows the roles and timing. Keep a concise log of checks and repairs. The discipline you build in peace will be the reflex you rely on in war. Relying on obvious psychological deterrence alone, like signage or barking dogs, without layered security will fail. Signs that read, "Armed Household," or "No Trespassing," can deter casual intruders, but may also invite tests from organized groups. A loud dog can be a great early warning, but may be neutralized or, worse, used as a marker to identify active households. Consider deterrence as a layered system. Visible measures, fences, lights used sparingly, signage, combined with hidden measures, motion detection with alerts, coordinated watches, and community responses. Train animals properly and ethically. Never rely solely on them. Use deterrents that give you time and information rather than create false confidence. Underestimating legal, ethical boundaries and turning to vigilantism erodes community protection. In a crisis, the temptation to take immediate, punitive action is strong. But acting outside the law or in revenge-driven ways fractures trust and invites reprisals. The stronger and safer communities are those that coordinate with remaining legal authorities when possible, document incidents, and use non-lethal means to delay or deter until help or the community can respond. Build relationships with local law enforcement and emergency agencies ahead of time if they are still functional. Understand the legal limits of self-defense and property protection. Mutual aid and documented collective deterrence are far more sustainable than individual vendettas. Tactical layer, daily OPSEC and communications fallback. Your daily routine needs an OPSEC checklist you run like a pilot before flight. Start the morning with a visual perimeter sweep, curtains closed, exterior lights checked for concealment, and devices powered down unless needed. Confirm who's scheduled to be where that day and limit outward signals. No public posts, no open calendars. Midday, perform a quick communications check. Test backup radios legally. Confirm 2 alternate contacts can be reached, and verify the physical rendezvous points are still accessible. In the evening, run an inventory headcount. Important documents secure, medications accounted for, and high-value items either dispersed or locked. Train the household with short, frequent rehearsals so these checks become automatic. For communications fallback, establish at least 2 layers. One digital but privacy-minded, encrypted messaging platforms used sparingly, and one physical, pre-arranged meeting spots and signal markers. Practice using them until they become second nature, and always have written copies of critical plans stored in waterproof containers. Community structure and watch rotations should be simple, transparent, and legally minded. Organize small teams with clear roles, communications, medical response, logistics, food distribution, and security watch. Each team should have a minimum of 3 trained people, so someone can rest without gaps. Rotate watch duties in short, predictable blocks, so fatigue doesn't set in. An exhausted watch is a blind watch. Keep logs of who's on duty and a brief handover procedure that includes what to be aware of that night. Use visible deterrence sparingly. The primary function of a watch is early detection and communication, not confrontation. When incidents occur, document and escalate through agreed channels, rather than taking unilateral action. Psychological deterrence is about perception and ethics. A well-maintained property with clear signs of vigilance, but not ostentation, discourages opportunists. Legally posted warnings, motion-sensitive lighting applied judiciously, and landscaping that reduces hiding spots all contribute. Dogs can be effective early warning tools when trained and cared for properly. Decoys, like a small visible supply that's intentionally less valuable than hidden stores, can buy time and reduce loss without promoting theft. Always prioritize de-escalation and safe withdrawal. The aim is to protect life first. Weapons and defensive tools, training, maintenance, and legal compliance. If you choose to own weapons, make these non-negotiable practices. Complete accredited training courses. Practice regularly under supervision. Maintain your gear according to manufacturer recommendations. And store everything securely. Consider legal liability and local statutes before acquiring any defensive tool. Focus training on safety, marksmanship basics, decision-making under stress, and legal frameworks for self-defense. Combine that with non-lethal options and escape planning. The true defense strategy is avoidance, not an eagerness to confront. Action plan. What to change today, this week, this month. Today, scrub your social accounts of geotags and recent check-ins. Put a simple OPSEC sheet by your front door with emergency numbers and the name of your trusted neighbor. Power down non-essential devices tonight and run a quick perimeter check before bed. This week, create 2 physical rendezvous points and tell only the household and 2 trusted contacts. Rotate 1 supply run so you're not making the same trip twice. Test basic comms with a battery-powered radio or a known privacy-centric messaging method. This month, audit your stockpile and split it into at least 2 distinct caches. Set up a maintenance log for batteries, radios, and critical gear. Enroll at least 2 family members in a certified first aid course. Quarterly, run a full-day drill with your community group, communications blackout, medical scenario, and rapid relocation rehearsal. Keep records of every drill and lesson learned. Make the drills realistic but safe. The goal is muscle memory. Final words. Small daily changes are what stand between survival and becoming an easy target in wartime. You don't need panic, you need discipline. Replace impulsive convenience with deliberate habit. Train more than you talk. Build trusted networks before you need them. Keep your life private, your routines unpredictable, and your tools maintained and legal. This is about protecting lives, not glorifying conflict. When the stakes are highest, the people who live by quiet, persistent discipline are the ones who get through. If you want the practical checklist that walks through every daily, weekly, and monthly step and templates for comms and community roles, download the Everyday Wartime OPSEC checklist and join our private channel for templates, training links, and vetted community discussion.